Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Tyrone Flawless Wiggins, a.k.a. Iron Buddha the God. I know some of you probably saying, why you call yourself Iron Buddha the God? Well, the name Iron Buddha was kind of given to me by fellow martial arts practitioners, and I just kind of ran with it. Like they say, I remind them, like my strength and ruggedness and stances and stuff remind them of the Buddha statue, and then they say I'm powerful, so Iron Buddha the God is what it is. But I want to talk to everybody today about the Last Dance documentary. I think it was called The Last Dance with the Jordan documentary. That concluded recently, and people were saying that Jordan signed off on that documentary right after LeBron helped the Cavaliers come back from being down 3-1 against a very powerful Warriors team. And people were saying Jordan's ego is what made him do that, because he felt as though once LeBron helped them come back down from 3-1 and win the championship, that his throne was being threatened or whatever. His self-proclaimed, well, I ain't gonna say self-proclaimed because everyone else, many people regard Mike as the greatest of all time or whatever, or the GOAT. I think I still consider Mike to be the best ever so far to this day, but people like Skip Bayless, no disrespect to him, he just thinks Jordan is literally from another planet. I think I'm from another planet sometime. Like, I think I landed here in a spaceship. But it's the nostalgia factor. It's the fact that Jordan's mystiqueness, he came along at perfect timing. He was definitely good at what he did. The Jordan didn't just play, he played equally as hard on both sides of the ball. That's why he was a one-time Defensive Player of the Year and a 10-time All-NBA first-team defense, which is very, very good accolade. But it's the nostalgia principle, and the fact that he came along during, there was no really social media at the time. So people didn't really know Mike, and they was drawn in by his competitive nature and how mysterious he was. Sort of like, I don't like to make comparisons, but like you take Michael Jackson, God rest his soul, Michael Jackson was a stone cold weirdo. Very talented, but he was weird. And people like that about him. He's very weird. I'm not, downplaying him, saying he was weird. His persona, which is being weird is in. Being weird is cool. So I'm not saying nothing about the whole allegations with Michael Jackson. I'm not saying nothing about that because I'm not touching on that. I'm just saying Mike's persona was weird. But it's the same thing with Michael Jordan. That's why they did that little video together, I believe, one time. Or was it a commercial or something? Because Mike was the best at what he did at the time, and then Mike was killing the game on the music side. So, but as far as LeBron, most athletes, there's no athlete in the world, well, I'm not going to say that because I can't read people's minds. There's, most athletes that get into professional sports, once they get there, they're not thinking in their head like, okay, I made it here, that's good enough. That's good enough for me. No, most athletes, when they get to the professional level, don't want to be just another guy, or don't want to be, considered, ninth best or 10th best. Most people want to be considered the greatest. But you got people who will claim that they don't care about that. But you take people like Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, he says that he don't believe Michael Jordan's the greatest in NBA history because why did he say? I forget the reason he gave. But that's Floyd's ego getting in the way, because Floyd wants to be considered, and this is what I'm thinking. He's never said this, but Floyd wants to be considered the best to ever do it in any sport or genre, anything. Definitely, of course, in boxing, but he wants to be. He don't like the fact that many people consider Michael Jordan to be a bigger name than his. But you got like LeBron James, who when he took his talents to South Beach to play with Wade and Bosh or whatever, I think it was first year there, when they lost to Dallas. LeBron disappeared in them finals against the Dallas Mavericks. Not cool. But people make it seem like Jordan's never lost or anything or disappeared. I don't think he's ever really disappeared. I think he was always up for the challenge. It's just he couldn't get through the bad boy Pistons, at the beginning of his career. That was when the NBA was a lot more rugged. You can hand check. You was getting your ass whipped back in the day in the NBA. People was getting bloody noses and eyes and all that. Jordan was getting roughed up, so he said, let me put on some muscle and play fire with fire. They want to play rough? All right, we can play rough. But at the end of the day, Scottie Pippen, Mike didn't really start winning until Scottie got there. You got so many people that say, I had this one guy tell me he argued me to death and I made him look like a fool. He's like, Jordan did it all by himself. I said, oh yeah? Then why didn't he win his first championship until 7 years after he got drafted? If he's so great and can win by himself, why didn't he start winning championships the moment he got to the NBA, which was in 1984? But he didn't win his first ring until, 1990, 91? Okay, then, exactly. But he's so great and can win by himself. Then let's say, I think Mike played 15 seasons. Why doesn't he have 15 championships? He can win by himself. He should have won one every year. Or let me guess, he didn't feel like winning championships when he first got to the NBA. Then the guy told me to argue with me. It's like, come on, he had Rodman. Rodman had hardly no offense. I said, you're an idiot. You clearly don't know basketball because Rodman's job wasn't to score. I was like, and who you talking about? You talking about the Hall of Famer Dennis Rodman? That's the one you talking about? The Hall of Famer Dennis Rodman? That's the only Dennis Rodman I know of that was in the NBA. Dennis Rodman had 0 points with 30 rebounds. Rebounds can create offense. Anybody who knows basketball, that's clear. I was like, Dennis Rodman, don't ever disrespect Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is one of the best ever. So don't make it seem like Jordan didn't play with nobody. Scottie is, some people don't agree that he's one of the top 50 players of all time, but they got him ranked. They got him there. Kukoc, Steve Kerr, Paxton, he played with some people, Ron Harper. Don't get it. The list goes on. So he's had some quality players around him. LeBron, at the beginning of his career in Cleveland, he left Cleveland because he felt as though he wasn't going to get a championship done there because he did not have no quality help around him. No solid role players around him at the beginning of his career. He didn't really have that many solid players around him when he came back to Cleveland. But, yeah, so LeBron was like, they fall to him, he ran to Miami. Okay, he got 2 championships there. What really solidified his legacy, but he's not done playing yet, but what really solidified his legacy is when he came back to Cleveland and won the championship. LeBron, I don't think that a person has to win the same amount of championships as another person to be considered as good as them or better. And at the end of the day, I think LeBron and Mike are just still slightly two different players. LeBron has a pass-first mentality. He has a pass-first mentality. He's like a point forward. So, and Jordan or whatever was primarily a scorer. But he played defense, of course, which I mentioned earlier. But he wasn't really known as like being a passer, which he can pass. He showed many times that he can be a good passer. But they're just different. Like, not saying that who's better out of Magic or LeBron, but LeBron and Magic are more so like each other than LeBron and Jordan. I still think Kobe is the closest thing to Mike so far to this day, as opposed to LeBron James. But, yeah, just the comparisons is just getting annoying. It's like, who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT? Why all of a sudden everybody forgot about Kobe? Or some people didn't forget about Kobe. This list came out recently that had Kobe. I think it was an ESPN list that had Kobe ranked 9th greatest of all time. That's kind of reaching a little bit, but you got to understand that's kind of acceptable at the same time. There's a lot of great players. Kobe would probably be more so ranked for me, not 9, but he'll probably be, I don't know, 5-ish or 4, maybe even 6. Or whatever. But, yeah, LeBron is a good defensive player, but I don't think he's ever really shown that he's as good as on defense as Mike. LeBron has kind of had like some issues at the free throw line, and for a superstar, somebody who's regarded as one of the greatest ever, he's never been that great at the free throw line. Jordan is considered by many the best mid-range jump shooter in NBA history. Like, and Jordan averaged 30 points a game for his career when the three-pointer wasn't as emphasized as it is now. Steph Curry helped revolutionize the NBA by shooting threes. Now you got little kids on a basketball court just jacking up threes. They ain't passing the ball, nothing. Hold on, I got interrupted for a second there. But yeah, like I said, you got a lot of kids just jacking up threes and stuff. So yeah, but as far as Mike being able to get done what he got done without, shooting many threes is impressive. The average 30 or whatever. Then you got Skip Bayless who says, what did Skip Bayless say? When